Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Virtual Global Leadership Podcast. Today, I'm thrilled to introduce our distinguished guest, Krishna Tiwari. Krishna is a mentor, growth champion, and board director who has had an illustrious career spanning over 30 years. Krishna has always believed that great teamwork, coupled with differentiated and relevant ideas, can create magic for society at large. He has had the opportunity to work with exceptional teams and mentors, building several large businesses along the way. His remarkable journey includes growing a business from a 400 member team to over 2,500 at the Datamatics Group, launching multiple B2B and B2C content properties and Infomedia 18, and building the Times B2B brand at the Times of India Group. Krishna was also instrumental in launching the German media brand CHIP at Jasubai Media and contributed to the Asia Pacific marketing communications team at Fisher Rosemount. He is passionate about working on new business ideas, identifying product market fit, and exploring global business opportunities. Mentoring startups and young teams invigorates him, and he is defined by his dedication to global business building, ultimate learning, and tech enabled disruption. Please join me in welcoming Krishna Tiwari to the Virtual Global Leadership Podcast. Hi, Krishna. How are you?
Hi, Sagar. I'm doing fine. First of all, let me thank you for inviting me to this prestigious forum. And also a big hello to people who have joined this podcast and also will see this podcast later on. Many of my many of them would be my ex-colleagues and friends as well. So thanks again for
Wonderful.
getting here.
Wonderful. Welcoming all of them. So, Krishna, before we dive deep into the core topic, this is one question that always comes to my mind and always keep asking is where do you see we are heading in terms of future of work? Where do you see we are heading?
Well, of course, I don't have a perfect answer to it,
Yeah.
but the future of work is still very uncertain. We have seen how it changed, dramatically when that pandemic era took place. So the many of the older thumb rules got redefined. So, for example, many of the companies where I used to work earlier, they used to believe that you have to be there physically in office, right? And every day, and as per your committed contracts, and they would never allow anyone to work from home. But I think COVID era kind of changed that. So both positives and negatives came out of it, and uh, and now we saw that it is kind of getting optimized, and but people have picked up the good things from work from home kind of thing.
Mhm.
At the same time, technology is all over now. It's become kind of mainstream for all of us.
Yeah.
So it is impacting the way people are collaborating now. People are working together, building businesses, building new products, um, co-pollination of ideas across geographies, across markets. So the future of work is uncertain, how it will pan out, but it is exciting. It looks bright to me.
Wonderful. Wonderful. Thank you for sharing that perspective. So, before we dive deep into the business building, I want to get your perspective on, you have seen a company grow from 400 to 2,500, and I'm sure with your contribution in the startup ecosystem, uh, I just wanted to, get a perspective on like what it takes to build a company from 5 to 50 or 50 to 100. I would love to know your perspective because a lot of startups, somewhere, they're I've seen that they're not able to hold the team together.
Correct. Correct. So I think you mentioned just the right word over there, the team. So it is the team which makes or breaks a business, and hence selection of a team, whether it is a startup or whether it is an ongoing enterprise, is a very, very important area to focus on. And the companies have, of course, realized, with the kind of changes that is happening in the market. So when a company is in a startup phase, there is a lot of dependence on the founders, founder and co-founder, a good chemistry between both of them, in terms of having similar ideas, similar passion, supporting skill sets and expertise, which then needs to get translated to the team members. So when they're building their teams, the kind of people whom you bring on board will also kind of reflect and will be the founding block of your company as you start moving from 5 to 50 to 100 and beyond, kind of a thing. So having just the right type of people, right minded, right skilled, um right EQ. So I'm a firm believer that I think EQ is an important area, and great teams have people with high EQ together. Of course, IQ does help, but I give paramount importance to EQ over an IQ kind
Yeah, yeah. Thank you for touching upon EQ. I was just, I invest a lot of time in exploring spiritual aspects of life, and that's where I learned that human beings have trained in such a way that they only use one out of eight levels of intelligence available to them. uh,
of.
and definitely what the first one is IQ, but of course EQ is one part of it, and there are six more types of intelligence. So thank you for bringing that up. And of course, and the times that we are living in, the post pandemic, empathy, human focused leadership, service leadership is really really important. So thank you for touching that. um, so what it takes, Krishna, for a Indian company to go global? Uh, Definitely, I would love to know also what it takes to build a company in India. Feel free to choose to answer if you want to answer that first or second. I leave that up to you.
Right, right. So fortunately, I have had experience on both the sides. So Indian company building business in India and expanding its offering, its customer base, and also an Indian multinational building business cross border across Americas, Europe, Asia Pacific, Middle East. So um, I had this experience in my career, and I think some of the fundamentals remain the same. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So you need to have a product which is solving a problem
Mm-hmm.
for the customer, whether it is B2B or B2C. My experience in the international market is more on the B2B side, and
Mm-hmm.
that to tech-enabled services. So you need to have an offering which is solving a problem of the customer. So problem solution fit, and it's true for a startup. It's true for an enterprise as well. Then your product market fit is something which you have to test out. You have to collect the feedback from the market in terms of customers acceptance, improvement, outreach programs, etc. And then you have to go full hog in terms of launching the thing. Each market is different. Okay, so the way you will handle customers in Americas would be very different from the way people will interact with you, let's say in UK or in France or in Germany, that kind of thing. So there are cultural differences which translate in their business behaviors too. So you have to take cognizance of that particular area. You also need to have local people. So that means on your team has to be multicultural. So if you are doing business in Germany, you need to have a few German team members. If it is in America, then you have to see whether East Coast, West Coast, Central, those kind of skill set of people are there or no. Uh, Building a brand, I think that's true for whether it is an Indian business or international business. That requires investment and that requires time. So in my experience, when we were doing, when we were scaling up, we were not uh, we were not a known brand as a service provider in publishing and e-commerce services side. And it took us time. It took us presence in all international trade fairs, conferences, speaker slots, a little bit of advertising, interaction with the industry associations. So it has to be a multi-channel approach that you need to bring in all the time, testing your product or service and improving upon it.
Mm-hmm.
Clearly, a differentiation, uh, a differentiation between your offering and the way others are giving the solution to the customer is an important one, because otherwise you just end up having a price war.
Mm-hmm.
So you cannot build a brand just on price. You need to have quality. So you need to define customer success. So what does mm, how does customer gives you very high satisfaction rating,
Mm-hmm.
and that would have various parameters: quality, communication, the way you approach them, the way you price it, etc. And that's something which then multiplies, because the word of mouth is still very strong in the business to business arena. Apart from this, continuously working on innovative demand generation programs, using digital media, using all programmatic marketing tools. There's so many new things now coming up every day, without intruding into the customer's privacy, is what you need to continuously do. So it's a long haul, both building a business in India as well as internationally. It's a long haul, internationally especially, but you need to be able to relate with each of your market segments. So Germany, what you offer may be a little bit different from what you'll offer from in the US, or what you offer into a Middle East market.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Interesting. Interesting. So Krishna, what common mistakes you see organizations do, or for that matter, enterprise or startups do, while they are working on their problem solution fit or uh, product market fit?
Right. Interesting question, Sagar, and thin line of differentiation between both of them. But like as I mentioned, problem solution fit is the founding block over there.
Correct.
So
Correct.
you need to have a you need to be able to identify a problem which is real, which is existing in the consumer's mind. There are people offering solutions to it, but they may not be the most efficient
Mm-hmm.
solutions.
Mm-hmm.
So when a company is starting a new product line offering, or there is a startup, it is very important to see whether that problem, the solution which you're offering to that problem, is something unique, something which will benefit the customer in a very different manner. That
Yep.
problem solution is of a size which would mean, which will be meaningful for you as a business as you move forward. So that's where the problem solution fit, and it needs to get validated by the customers, because I have seen
Yep.
many startups trying to raise funds without any proof of concept, or without any validation, and that's where that's a mistake which people do. So if you don't get your problem solution fit right, then there is no product market fit, according to me. But if
Yep.
you got your problem solution fit right, then it's time to graduate to the next level. Look at whether you create a minimum viable product. You you figure out that there are repeat customers who are looking at this kind of a solution. There is a way by which it can be kind of a process oriented kind of a thing. So it cannot
Yeah.
be an ad hoc product market fit. It has to be checked across your market segments which you are trying to hit. It needs to get validated, and if it is not getting validated, then it's time to go back to the drawing board and make those changes. So I've seen many companies, and even maybe even I have also done mistakes while launching products and offerings. Uh, so one of the products which we offered, for example, a magazine in India market, which was on cricket, and we were a, we we were a special interest publishing house, and we thought you know, making a magazine for the cricket enthusiast, doing about 200,000 copies, would be of great interest to people and also to the advertisers. But at the end of it, and we launched it without doing too much of thing, because it was an international brand, and it's called Cricket Info, and it was available in the digital format. We tried to make it in a print format, and it bombed. And we realized that very soon, because we realized that cricket is a mass media game. It is not a print centric kind of a thing. So advertiser is looking at a larger base of consumers of that content, whom he can sell his or her product. And print always had its own thing. So that's a mistake from where we
Yeah, yeah.
kind of learned over there.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you for sharing that. And what are some of the most significant tech-enabled disruptions that you have witnessed in your career?
Right. So, so luckily we've been a generation which has seen, I don't know whether even you have seen a telex machine. Have you seen a telex machine by any chance?
Can you
No.
quickly define what is a telex machine?
Telex machine used to be like a typewriter, and
Okay.
you would transfer, like a telegram kind of a thing. So
Ah, okay.
when you're communicating between one organization to another organization, and something needs to be sent out in a hurry, then you send a telex out there, they receive it, and then they reply to you, kind of a thing.
I
So
remember
we have
pager.
seen,
Pager.
yeah,
I think. Yeah.
right.
Okay.
So pager, we have seen telex machines, we have seen telegrams, we have also seen fax machines, which are no longer, I think, in fashion anymore. But from there, we have also seen the way the digital, era has kind of come across all of us. So now we are also witnessing, the power of internet, power of mobile phones. We have seen AI. Now we are looking at Gen AI. So we are lucky to have seen all. We have seen this happening. It's like changing of gears in a car, and now it's kind of, there is no end to it. There are so many gears that you are continuously applying gears, and the car is moving fast forward, kind of a thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, so I think the power of computing is something which we have seen how it has, shrunk the size of the. So now your mobile is a laptop or is a computer in your hand,
Yeah.
vis-a-vis the desktops or whether the mainframes which we have seen of IBM and other companies during our college days, kind of a thing. So ebooks, for example, is a major disruption which we saw when I moved to this particular area in 2009, and
Mhm.
that's where all media houses, all publishers were running after digitizing their content of past, and also creating new content into the digital format first, in terms of ebooks, audio books, video books, kind of a thing. So there was a one major specific disruption related to the media and publishing industry that one has seen. We've also seen the way now people are collaborating. So this video call, this podcast, everything is a disruption, which one would have not visualized earlier. And now, of course, on the e-commerce side, we have seen, how things have changed. Now, I remember when you would order something, then, first of all, you wouldn't even know when it's going to arrive. Then somebody will send you a message that it will arrive in 7 days, and then it won't arrive, and then there won't be any feedback mechanism, etc., etc. From there to now, we have quick commerce, so they guarantee 10 minutes delivery of your, grocery products or daily use products, kind of thing. These
Yeah.
are all, all very interesting disruptions because of technology and the way they have impacted the businesses.
Absolutely. Thank you. Thank you, Krishna, for taking us to the memory lane. Also, just wanted to share that definitely it has caused disruption, but on the other side, it has caused distraction as well. What are some of your suggestions specifically for startups who are wanting to be there, engage with stakeholders, and leverage media, but then there is too many options available, uh, and the attention spans are limited, and they have to reach out to their target stakeholder. It could be potential investors, clients, or rather finding their team members. So where does it all, where how is that they can leverage it efficiently, effectively, leverage the power of media.
Right. So this is a classic problem which has kind of remained forever. So in the past also you had newspapers, you had magazines, you had special interest magazines, you had events, you had conferences, you had industry associations, etc. So your marketing mix always had a combination of these things. So the most important thing is your target audience and the segment. So for example, if you are, let's say, launching a product, launching a platform for, let's say, bid development, okay, you're saying that the amount of bids or tenders that are getting invited in the market. uh, right now there are no efficient ways. Companies have limited ways in which they bid. They
Hmm.
also, that the information data is scattered, kind of a thing. So you are now providing a solution that would kind of consolidate the things. It will have help the customer participate in more tenders, uh, because the time taken will be reduced. It will be more accurate. You will use technology to generate proposals, etc., kind of a thing. And hence that will have an impact on the top line of the customer. So for such a thing, then you need to be very clear that who your audience is, which industry verticals you are looking at. Within those verticals, who are the people who would be, so whether it will be the pre-sales team, whether it will be the bid management team, whether it is the sales team or marketing team, which will uh, be the decision maker or the user for such an offering. And then you need to think of how they can be reached or influenced. So are they on social media? Are they do they use LinkedIn, for example, in a on a day-to-day basis, kind of a thing, or do they participate in conferences, or do they have their own association, or they travel and go to various trade shows? So understanding your consumer and the way uh, he or she behaves in terms of buying behavior, in terms of professional behavior, and then being present at such touch points, and to be able to communicate what you really want to communicate to them. So that then leads you to the selection which you will do, and the amount of money or effort you will invest into those media vehicles. So there is no
Okay.
thumb rule. There is no thumb rule, but these are fundamentals that have have remained forever.
Okay. Thank you for highlighting that. Also, a quick question here: where do you see future of work specifically evolving in the tech and media industries?
Right. So I always feel that media and tech industry are the ones who are, if I may say, are the ones who really make the technology reach out to the consumer the first compared to anybody else. So, for example, media now, in media now you have a very demanding consumer, or a modern consumer, right? So the challenge now for the media houses is to be able to have a kind of a common denominator in terms of a in terms of size of people with similar interests, and at the same time to be able to use the data and analytics to offer personalized offerings to such people. Also the media houses who have their own content, who have legacy content, so how to use that IP to repurpose the content, to reformat the content and monetize that content, kind of a
Mhm.
thing.
Mhm.
The new technologies which are coming in, so AI, Gen AI, they have kind of, you know, they are rewriting the way the content is getting created, content is getting curated, content is getting moderated, content is being discovered, simulations are being done. There are, conversational AIs which are coming into place. So all these things are impacting, and in fact, even for tech companies, IT companies, etc. So low code, no code platforms, for example, have come in, right? You
Yeah.
have
Yeah.
Gen AI now, Gen AI, which kind of makes your programming coding easier and reduces the time and effort. You have data and analytics now, which is available, so that you can kind of make shortcut of various solutions which you wanted to offer earlier. You can train your data. So earlier, training the data for your algorithm was a big task,
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
there was a lot of unstructured data all around, whether it is a media company or any other consumer business kind of a thing. And now, because of the LLMs which are in place, it's much more easier. So
Mhm.
the entire cycle becomes short, right? So
Mhm.
that means, because of all these changes in the business environment, there is an impact on people who are working in the
Yeah.
media and the tech industry.
Yeah.
And now it's up to the leaders of these companies, how they want to take it forward from here. They have no option but to move forward and go for adoption. But important thing is, the leaders need to identify how these technologies can help them improve their uh, operations internally, or help uh, um help the companies go to the market and offer new offerings and products, etc. So that's number one. So it's up to the leadership teams which is impacted, and of course companies are recognizing that part of it. Second part now is, then how do you train your existing people, right? So
Correct.
upgrading their skill set is something which companies are now looking at investing in, because you have already people in place who understand your businesses, but maybe well, less familiar with the way new businesses can be done. So investing in retraining your existing staff is something of an important initiative which I've seen a lot of companies taking. Third is the kind of people you will hire now as you move forward. So, for example, in media, now the stress is on everybody being digital savvy. So, earlier it may not have been the case. So, in media companies now, for example, earlier you would have a guy who will do print story, somebody who will do a web story, somebody who will do a TV story, and somebody who will do a blog, kind of a thing.
Mm.
But now the skill set which is coming in is like an integrated newsrooms.
Mm.
So each one of them has to have all the skills,
Mm.
and then they are able to contribute to all the channels, or all the properties which the media houses have. So that's a change, and that
Yeah.
means the people have to be um, reskilling themselves. And
Correct.
so these are all common things applicable across media and tech industry.
Interesting. Interesting. Thank you for sharing that. And slightly off topic, but very relevant to the scale of work that you do. What impact has remote work had on global business operations, and how do you see it evolving?
Right. Yeah. So, like I mentioned to you, I have global work experience, having worked with customers and teammates across Americas, Europe, UK, Middle East, etc. So, remote work was always there.
Hmm.
Okay. And in fact, outsourcing was a kind of a remote work. and started about 30, 40 years ago, especially in the publishing media industries, when publishers in all the leading countries realized that there are so many things which can be done at lower cost and more efficiently offshore kind of a thing. So an American company outsourcing to India, and then German company outsourcing to India, etc. So they are able to get time advantage because there are time gaps between all these geographies. Also get more efficient or more technically skilled people. There is a cost arbitrage which gets involved, kind of a thing, and also more tax savvy people, kind of thing. So this has been happening for last 40, 50 years now. And so Chennai, Pondicherry, Nasik, Mumbai, Hyderabad, Coimbatore. So they were all, there are people, teams who were already working remotely. So they were extended arms of the teams sitting out of US or Europe and other countries, kind of thing. When this pandemic uh, era came in, so that's where now people were forced to kind of look at this much more closely, because there were only two options: either you stop the work or you
Yep.
do the
Yeah.
work in a different manner. And that's where gradually companies realized that they reached an optimum level of working at that point of time. And then once the COVID was behind us, then the companies started asking people to come back to offices, kind of thing. So it also depends on the nature of your work and nature of the company's business, right?
Yeah.
But my take on this is that work from home, for example, would remain now. Okay, but if not 5 days or 6 days from home, kind of thing, maybe 2 to 3 days, kind of a thing. Um, Today's, for example, Economic Times has a story which says that 30 to 40% women now are opting for, instead of 9 to 5 jobs, opting for more flexible work from home, kind of thing. So maybe
Yeah.
that gives them a better sense of balance and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So and of course technology and various tools have enabled good collaboration, good project management skills, etc.
Yeah.
So this will remain. And I think for society at a large, I think it's a beneficial thing. So whether it is a pollution, whether it is a carbon footprint, whether it is a your own personal time, it does give a balancing act. But like I mentioned, very specific to the industries and the roles as well.
Absolutely. Thank you. Thank you for sharing that. So, how can businesses ensure that they remain customer centric in this rapidly changing market or working environment?
Right. So I think businesses are now in the best position to bring in, to take the customer centricity a notch higher now. Okay. In the earlier times, when the digital business was less, or digital medium was less frequently used out there, there were no ways of uh, getting a feedback so quickly about your consumer behavior, consumer insight, consumer sentiments, those kind of things. So for example, a newspaper would print hundreds and thousands of copies, and it will go to the people whose database they wouldn't even know who's buying it, kind of thing. And there was no feedback, or there would be some limited feedback letter to the editor, and that kind of thing. Then things changed, emails came in, kind of thing. But now you have a newspaper in the digital format itself. So instantaneously you can get a feedback about a story, about a writer, about an author, and you can then change your or enhance or modify your product or offering the next day itself. So customer centricity is a mindset. Okay, so that has to be as a part of the fabric of the company. So I have always believed that as much close as you are to your customer, better you would be placed in terms of business. So whether it is B2B or B2C, you have to be closest to the customer, and your customer always teaches you the most.
Hmm.
So especially in the case of B2B, it is the customer who understands his business and his challenges and pinpoints better than you. So if you are closer to them, then it is then you can create a better offering and better solution for that customer. So all in all, I would say for enhancing customer centricity, now one is of course the mindset which one needs to have across the organization, especially people who are servicing the customers, who are touch points with the customers, kind of thing. Number two is various means and ways by which you are uh, being close to the customer. So in earlier days, there was a saying that you have to be moving in the corridors of the customers all the time, especially for the salespeople and especially in the B2B scenario. But so that is still relevant. But also now we have many more ways by which you can try and get the customer data or the consumer insights, and one needs to have a one needs to have a mechanism in place, a process in place to analyze and bring it back to the system. So, for example, I know a leading bank and one of the companies with whom I consult. So they do the online reputation management. So there is a team of 50 people dedicated to that particular bank, and the team would have a mandate that within so many hours you have to reply, right? And so that kind of customer centricity actually helps you to get newer ideas for new products, new offerings, to eliminate the pain points of the customer and also enhance your brand reputation. So those tools were not available earlier. Now many such tools and techniques are available. It's only a question of deploying them.
Yeah, yeah. So thank you for sharing that. I think with the rise of remote work, and thank you for sharing insight on the customer centricity aspect. Then how can organizations ensure that the digital transformation is successful? It would be great to get your thoughts there.
All right. So I think there was a time people used to say that whether should we go for digital transformation or should we not, right? But now everybody has realized, and that's a big lesson which has come everybody's way post pandemic era, that there are now new methods which are more efficient, and that will add to my bottom line, that will add to my top line, if I adopt those, digital transformation methods. So, so that particular hurdle is behind now. Earlier, the CTOs, CIOs used to really have to uh, bargain hard or pitch hard internally to the CEO for making investments in the digital transformation side. They used to have difficult time making a case of ROI in terms of investment, etc. But nowadays things have changed. So the mandate kind of comes from the top only. They are saying that okay, we have customer facing operations and you have internal operations. So tell me, give me the ways by which you can enhance the overall customer experience using the latest digital technologies, and also tell me the ways that how you can make my own operations more efficient. How can you make my logistics or supply chain or administrative related stuff um, much more meaningful, much more purposeful, kind of a thing. So, so the mandate. So you need to have a sponsor in terms of a senior management, and it's again a mindset. And now I think more or less people are open to it. Uh, People internally are able to give them realistic ROI and timelines, kind of a thing to them. Processes realignment is an important part. So there are companies who were doing business in a specific manner, in a traditional manner. Now they've realized that using the power of digital media, they can go to the newer markets, they can do newer offerings, they can have newer payment mechanisms. There's so many things they can do differently. They can
Yeah,
also hear customers' voice, capture it, look at the sentiment, etc. So once the processes get realigned to such a thing, Then comes the technology part of it. So choosing the right technology, choosing the right technology partner who is experienced and who will be there in this game for a long time with you is something which one needs to look at. And then, of course, comes the deployment. There would be some resistance against change in the company. It comes in terms of retraining, reskilling the people. So that's a change management thing which every company has to face, because this will have a rub off on people's careers, people's skill sets. People feel threatened, etc. So that's the entire cycle in general, which will kind of, every company undergoing a digital transformation phase has to, undergo. And it's a continuous process. I mean, you can't say that this particular bank is fully digitally transformed or this particular manufacturing company is fully automated. So, but uh, I think the journey has begun now, has picked up pace in this particular direction.
Thank you for sharing that, Krishna. Also, just wanted to know from you, what were some of the key, let's say, critical success factors, I would say, while you were part of a team that was going from 400 to 2500. Also, I would love to know more on, how do then we foster the element of collaboration and innovation at the same time in that scale.
Right. Right. So I would say innovation and collaboration were two things which were kind of, critical success factors for the success which we saw as a team. So I was always lucky to get, very open-minded and experienced, seasoned senior management and their support, and also team members. So team members with passion, team members with skill sets, team members with innovation, um, you know, that kind of thing. So in that particular journey, when I look back, uh, there was a particular opportunity. So, like I mentioned to you, digital transformation, digital medium. So, ebooks era was something which was suddenly, so we caught that wave and we rode that wave. And for riding that wave, we built a brand, our company. We reached out to people, right set of messaging. We built capabilities at the back end in terms of because everybody was in a hurry out there.
Yep.
So we built delivery capabilities. We built tech capabilities. We moved from one center to five or six different delivery centers across the country. And at each step, I was lucky to have people, and of course they were all handpicked. So selecting the team was something which I really focused on. Okay, and getting the right set of leaders to man those positions and those functions was an important part of it. Luckily, I succeeded in about, I think, 90% of such cases. And there were, of course, 10-15% where judgment went wrong and they didn't come up to their expectations, kind of a thing. So it was a team effort, which we identified an opportunity and we quickly got together um, to exploit it or to take advantage of it to the maximum kind of thing, and fully supported by the management and the company over there. Collaboration and innovation was something. So we actually formed a different innovation team. So it was like a pre-sales or a solutioning team whose task was only to do solutioning and whose task was to talk to the customer, and those were publishers and e-commerce companies, large companies across the world, and identify their pain points and look at where we can provide them a technology-enabled solution to them. So that was the team's work, and that was an investment, but that was something which then comes back to the company because you are able to then offer a relevant thing. Collaboration was something which was a mandate from the top, uh, given to the team members, in the sense that the silos which typically exist in the organization. So how much can you break those silos and make them work effectively together? So for that, number of training programs, number of group exercises, number of meetings, reviews, town halls, communication, all that kind of thing. So that was a time where I used to invest a lot of my time in getting functions across, getting personalities across, getting geographies across. Thing. So yeah, so that's where the leadership has to actually invest time and effort.
Thank you for giving those insights. I know and I believe that all the leaders listening to this podcast, especially enterprise owners and startup founders, it is very important to, of course, to carry on the work that the fit, to continuously build on the product market fit and solve for the customers. But on the back end, using the EQ and using people management and leadership management, let's say experiences or skills, is so crucial to drive, and I'm sharing this, Krishna, because I'm sure you would have seen this, especially in enterprises and startups. You see a lot of co-founders, after a point in time, they do not want to see each other, they don't want to work. Apart from the leadership that happens, of course, the Xylo aspect that you mentioned, and which is causing a lot of trouble in their startup journey or enterprise journey, because fundamentally, after timing, team is the reason why companies succeed. And
Right.
thank you for bringing that up. And I just wanted to share here, is that the time has also come for all the leaders to definitely uh, work on the intelligent processes and systems. But I think the time has definitely come to focus on inner transformation as well. So I just wanted to share that, was something that came to me when you were exploring your exploring and sharing your experiences. So that's something that I would love for all the listeners to focus on as well. uh, Krishna, I just wanted to understand, what advice would you give to startups and young teams, specifically young teams, looking forward to innovate in today's market?
Right, right. Yeah, so I work with a lot of startups and incubation centers, thanks to them.
Yep.
And so I've seen people of different age groups. So, right, people who are still studying in the college, but they have a business idea and they want to, um, make it into a full-time business kind of a thing. I've also seen people who are experienced, who are doctors, who are other things, but they have an idea, related to maybe their field, and they also want to become, startup companies, etc. So I think there are different segments of startups, but maybe some common underlying themes. Because people who have already worked for a number of years, they have an idea of how the business reality is. But people who are coming out of fresh from colleges or still studying, they have a very different notion of the world. So, so the advices are, I think, different, but some of the basics would be common only. That you need to have, like I mentioned, and we spoke about it, problem solution fit. Okay, you have to see how big that particular problem is, and if you do the solution, whether this will be an attractive enough a market for potential investors to come into the thing. Your team is the most important thing. So are you complementing each other? So most of the companies want co-founders to be there, and it's not a single founder that people want to trust with their money. So they need to have co-founders in place. Technology should be in-house. So that's something which they need to be very clear, especially if it is a tech-enabled kind of a solution. For funding, for fundraising, etc., I think one needs to have a plan in place, and one also needs to have personal finances in place. Which, of course, they should not mix it, but they must have a 2 year, 3 year, kind of a deep pockets available to them. There was a study from Economics Times very recently, and they looked at all 1.2 lakh startups we have in the country, and so they said very clearly that 90% of the startups will fail. Okay, 80% of them in first 5 years itself. The
Hmm.
biggest reason which they have found out through their survey is the bad or a wrong product market fit. Okay,
Hmm.
35%
Yes.
of the thing they fall because that the product market fit was not the right one, and then they
Hmm.
went on raising funds and they went on putting efforts, but then they, at the end of it, they were not successful. Second was marketing and sales strategies. So you are a, you have a business idea, you are a great techie, you want to do something, but if you don't put in the right marketing and sales efforts, then your results are moving away in terms of time and year and quantum kind of thing.
Yeah.
Third was, of course, fundraising, etc., was an issue with them. Not having mentors was one of the big reasons which they have mentioned, that especially for the young ones, look at mentors who can actively participate and help you readjust, realign your priorities and course of your business. So that's an important one. And of course, there were the reasons like team and HR and co-founder conflicts, etc. So when this data and information is available, then I think people need to take cognizance of that, and
Yeah.
broadly available, applicable to both types of startups, whether young ones or experienced ones.
Yeah. Yeah. So Krishna, thank you for putting that. I think the data is there, and sometimes I wonder, interacting with a lot of, I would not say only startups, or even the enterprise leaders, and I just wanted to address the elephant in the room here. Uh, is that and maybe this could make me unpopular, but I'm okay to be unpopular. But the main point I'm sharing this here is that for a lot of times the personal ambitions take over the the team and the central goal. And what I have also noticed is that they don't want to even accept that, and rather take change the course, or have the necessary, I would say, for the lack of better word, uh, decision making slash acumen to kind of change the course of direction. They will suffer for 5 7 8 years, and then the burnout will come up, and then someone else will come and take the position, and that is happening everywhere, including startups. So
Right.
that is something that I thought. And definitely, Krishna, I would love to know your thoughts on this thought, and some suggestions or advice you have for leaders.
No, I think very relevant and practical point which you have shared here. And I think by definition, a business is an ongoing concern. Okay. So whether it is a startup or an enterprise, the business should go on irrespective of whether you are there or you're not there. So
Hmm.
one needs to create a culture of being independent from you or from a personality, right? So like definition is ongoing concern, and it's a very old definition. So depending upon one or two personalities may not really help. Although we have seen there are some large companies where because the founders and the or and on the and the leaders, because of their personalities, the company has grown, and because of their vision, the company has grown. But those are very few cases. Okay, broadly speaking, the culturally the company needs to have a culture of participation, inclusiveness, diversity, etc. And then that's how the it will become an ongoing concern. If you are dependent on one person's whims and fancies um, and his personal ambitions, his or her personal ambitions, then it becomes very um, questionable. So you might succeed. Okay, there are instances where the successes have happened, but those are very few. So if you one wants to be one wants to have a higher chances of success, and not fall in that 90% thing, and wants to be in the 10% successful startup, then ideally one need to have a team which will be participative, whose views you will look at, who will you will evaluate, and you will decide accordingly. So
Yeah.
participative style is what I would recommend.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the founders, of course, have to um, rise beyond this position of saying that, okay, I am the owner, I am the founder. So that
Hmm.
kind of affects the fabric of
So,
the entire company.
absolutely. And it is happening everywhere. And
Hmm.
moreover, what happens is the people along with the foundership team, because they understand the leader behavior, they become less expressive. They will try to match their opinion to the founder's opinion, so that
Right.
in the room, in the discussion, the situation is, and that is causing a lot of damage also. And then it some after a point in time becomes normal, and that's where
Right. But
thank you.
That's been a bane for many organizations in a lot of time. No, that's been a
It's a
bane.
big, yeah, yeah. That's why, I mean, thank you. I mean, I'm grateful that we could touch upon this today. And I would want this thought to, come across on LinkedIn, where other leaders also put this up, because I'm not sure what kind of work is being done. Definitely, there are leadership coaches, business coaches, mentors that definitely, and I'm sure, Krishna, I mean, knowing you, I know you would definitely bring this up while you are mentoring enterprises and startups, but then it has to come up. And, we have to make this a popular conversation rather than just
Right.
eyeing away and shying away. uh, so
Right.
anyway, thank you, Krishna, once again for accepting my invitation and joining on this virtual global leadership dialogues, and sharing your wisdom and insights on your areas of expertise, and of course, your inputs and understanding on the future of work. And always I wonder, when I look at the time, it's already an hour. We have just warmed up in the conversation. I mean, I
Right.
wish we could talk for 1 more hour, but then we are not going to disappoint the viewers. We'll come back, we'll plan a one more podcast, or rather masterclass, and possibly in a 6 months time, with refreshing thought, or maybe coming up with something that we could, for due to time we couldn't cover today. But it would be an honor to have you back again, Krishna.
Thank you, Sagar, for asking those interesting questions. It made me go down the memory lane and also remember a few things which I've done with my colleagues for different businesses where I've worked. And I really appreciate this particular initiative which you have, by creating this platform for virtual global leadership dialogue. So it's an interesting one, and pleasure to be here today. I wish you all the best, and happy to come back as and when and in whatever format you require whenever you're ready.
Thank you, Krishna. Thank you, viewers, for once again joining in, and motivating me to continue to build this initiative. Before the start of the conversation, we and Krishna were candidly having a conversation, and Krishna asked me, "Okay, how many podcasts you have done?" So I think which is we are very close to 50. And next month we will be celebrating 1 year of this initiative, and I promise I'm going to continue to bring wonderful leaders, on this platform in this year, and continue to build this journey and share the experiences and learn the experiences. And thank you once again.
All right, and bye, viewers too.